Hello?
Hi.
Hi, all right.
How are you guys?
Well, very well. How are you?
Good, good. I should probably introduce myself. I'm Janine. I'm from WCBG. Thanks so much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Good. Nice one. I'm Chris, by the way.
Hello.
And I'm Matt. You.
So I have a cute little icebreaker that was asked at my freshman orientation. The question is, if you can be any item in the kitchen, what would you be and why?
I'd be an ice maker. I don't like to drink drinks without ice, so I'm going to help everyone else out too. A lighter, probably.
Yeah, I'd be the oven lighter.
The hob.
So when I was asked this question, I told people I'd be a knife because I have a sharp wit.
We'll use that next time if he asks.
Yeah.
I'm the knife.
So I also have a question that I think says a lot about a person, and it's also kind of like a cute little icebreaker. What is your favorite album in your personal collection? And by personal collection, I mean you physically own the album.
I'll let you go first. Silence.
My favourite album
That you own.
that I own. I'd have to say Funeral for a Friend, the Hours album. That's one of the first albums that got me into music, really. Drew me away from football. But yeah, that album and My Chemical Romance, 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge, those are the 2 albums for me that started me on my musical journey, I have to say.
Awesome.
Mine would be Linkin Park, Hybrid Theory.
Oh yeah.
We're close second of the, they did like a live in Texas. I remember somebody bought me that for my birthday. And I was like, this sounds so good live.
I haven't seen that.
I'll lend you it. Have you got a CD player?
Maybe somewhere lying about.
The reason I ask this question, I think it says a lot about a person. Like if someone physically owns a copy of a piece of music just because like the physical, tangible item, and I think those albums are the ones like people have connections to and want to remember or kind of go back and reminisce when they have it.
Yeah.
To be honest, I think I've owned that Hours album since I was like 14, I think.
There's a funny thing.
About nearly 15 years.
There's a funny thing about that album, you know, Streetcar, the song, where it dials it.
Yeah.
That was actually the lead singer's home phone number, and he had to get his phone number changed.
I didn't know that.
Because people figured it out by keying it on the keypad.
No way.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
But yeah, that was a sick album.
I bet he regretted doing that.
Yeah, well, his mum and dad's just like, hello? Can I speak to Funeral for a Friend, please?
You guys mentioned, kind of touched upon your early musical beginnings. I'm kind of quite curious, like, how did you guys decide that this is what you wanted to do? Like, you wanted to form a band and write your own music and kind of go in this direction?
I'd say, again, going back to, like, physical CDs, I remember buying, it was a Sum 41 CD. I don't know if it was All Killer No Filler, but it came with, like, a DVD. And they were, like, shooting fireworks out of cars and doing skateboard tricks and like dance routines and like all kind of a lot of stuff that's ended up in some of their music videos. And I remember thinking that seems really good to have like a close knit group of friends where you're having the fun of making the music and also like all the other stuff as well. I remember when I was younger, I used to like skateboard and we used to almost try and do videos like that. Of like we'd do like little skits and stuff, and some of those people like I ended up being in bands with like when I was younger. So it kind of like came full circle of like seeing it and almost like emulating it, but then in the process of emulating it, actually realizing that the music was more fun than the messing about.
For me, my mother's a singer, so all through my childhood growing up, I always used to watch and listen to my mum perform on stage and at home and stuff like that. So I guess that was where I got my inspiration from to want to do it, but it wasn't until I hit about 13, 14 that it became like the forefront of what I wanted to do in my life. Probably because I was going through like a lot of issues as teens do, and I guess music pulled me in, and I attached to it more than I attached to anything else, I guess. And I used to be really scared to perform, especially when I was younger, first doing it, because you always worry about, you know, what people think, you know, if you're any good and stuff like that. And you know, you could be like the best singer the world's ever heard, but you're still gonna have that self-doubt in your own mind. You know what I mean? So that self-doubt also drives me to better myself. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But apart from that, yeah, music's one of the only things that drives me to be a better person now. As well as that, I'm not really any good at anything else. Yeah.
I love learning about people's kind of start with music, because where I'm from Staten Island, New York, which is where Wagner College is located. And there's like no music scene here at all. Like, you're lucky if there's one bar that will let bands play. It's pretty sad. And the movie School of Rock was filmed on my campus. So like, it's such an iconic movie, and yeah, and we don't have it.
What?
That's crazy.
Yeah, that sucks. I don't know, the music scene around England, especially when we were growing up, I'd say was like really hit and miss. Especially for like this, you know, like going to see your friends' bands and stuff like that, especially like getting gigs places, because so many venues have shut down now around our area.
Yeah, it was a little bit easier when we were younger. The gigs that were on were good, but then, like Matt says, they were hard to come by. Sort of until everybody started getting on like things like MySpace and things like that. It was kind of, you didn't really know if there was anything going on, because it was like locally arranged. Like the bands would arrange it. It wouldn't be done through like a promoter or anything like that. I remember loads of gigs we played where all the bands would chip in and be like, right, you know, it's £150 to rent this pub, but you know, if we all pay it, then it's you know, it's cheap, and we'll just split whatever, you know, money we make. So there was a lot of that going on. So like, if you could find the gigs, they were good, but you know, like Matt said, they were a bit, unless you were in the scene and someone told you. Yeah, it wasn't that great.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like Nick Carroll.
I think there's like more opportunities in other places. I don't know. I kind of live vicariously through everyone else's scene just because of my own experiences here. It's kind of sad.
Yeah.
So I'm actually also quite curious. What musicians inspire you to be better musicians?
I'd say my number one would be my mum again, because she was my first inspiration to want to be a singer. So yeah,
I think we're always trying to not outdo each other in the band, but like we want to impress. Like it's great when you get the lyric idea or the melody or you know the start, like a demo. It's always a great feeling to take that to the group and be like, oh, I've been sort of working on this, and then we're not trying to be like, I wrote loads of demos, but like I think we drive each other to like nobody wants to be sat being the one being like, oh, I haven't done anything. And then I think for myself, inspiration wise from other musicians, when we've gone out on tour with bands that are bigger than us, well seasoned, do you know what I mean? They've toured all around the world, things like that. I like to watch how bands like that carry themselves on and off stage. We see a lot of bands that we've been out with, very very professional, very very nice. Like, and I think that's what we want to strive to be. We'd want people to go, oh, have you heard of Captives? And I would rather somebody say, oh, they're really nice guys. Then I'd rather hear that first than be like, oh, I love that band, but oh, my friend met them and they were really nasty. And like, we try and uphold the, like, when I was younger, if I got the chance to meet someone who was in a band of any size, you don't want to be like, I love your band, and they'd be like, oh, whatever. I'm like, oh, do you know what I mean? So like, I think I try and remember that of when we meet like younger fans at the merch table to hear them out. They've all, you know, everyone's got a story and everyone's got questions they want to ask and things like that. And I always try and keep my head on straight and be like, well, if I was that person, being like, "You signed the CD," and all this sort of stuff. Like, we're well known for Matt being at the merch table and someone asking for a signed CD, and he'll run around the venue and find every member, and rather than being like, "Oh, sorry, they're not here." Like, there's been many times I've told him off for leaving the merch tin unattended to get other people's signatures.
I love that kind of community relationship you guys have, like, with your fans and your listeners. That's really exciting, and I think special to hear, because like where I am, we're in different countries, and I discovered you guys through Spotify, which love that connectivity factor, and you honestly became very quickly one of my favorite bands just because of your sound and style. So
we're very grateful for the opportunities that Spotify's given us to reach people that obviously
they've been good to us.
And it's great. It's crazy when you can go on to Spotify and sort of see, 10 people are listening right now, and one of them will be in Sydney, Australia, and one of them will be in America, and God, like, somebody right now is
listening,
wasting their own personal time to listen to us.
Yeah, still not really thinking, to be honest. Nothing else, to be honest.
It's definitely something special. When I heard your music for the first time, I love the juxtaposition between, like, the lyrical melodies and the instrumentation, even though they just go together so well. Like, I don't really know how to explain this. I want to try to find the right words for this. I don't think you fit into a genre, which is wonderful. I hate trying, like, placing genres on artists, and I think that sets you apart from other artists I have listened to, just because, like, I do tend to stay in this realm of music, but it wasn't something I've heard before, which was always great on my end. Thank you.
We do struggle when people say, "Oh, what genre of music are you?" And because we take inspiration from so many different places, and like you say, we're not necessarily. I feel like our instrumentation sounds like Matt would sing clean on the choruses, and then some guy would come in and scream the verses. And because we don't do that, I think musically it's interesting for us to think, well, normally if we were a band that had a screamer, this heavy bit would, scream over it. So we have to sort of think outside the box of going, well, we can't scream over it. So sometimes writing a catchy melody over a breakdown is like a bit of a, like, it's a bit of a task, isn't it?
Yeah, because we don't just want to just chuck any old generic type of vocal melody over it. Do you know what I mean? Because even though it may sound good while listening to it, it'll get very boring very quickly.
It's sometimes hard as well to find inspiration, because all bands obviously listen to other bands and take inspiration and do their own thing with it, but there's a very small pool of inspiration that we can go to for specific parts like that of going, right, what band does music like us, but when they get to the breakdown, they're still going to keep singing. So sometimes it's a bit like, well, we're just going to have to figure out what that is.
Figure it out ourselves.
But I think that's kind of great how, like, you guys are, I think, kind of changing the game a little bit. I honestly hope more people do listen to your music because of that. Like, as you said, like, the breakdowns with these clean melodies on top, I think it adds this nice balance, because you have, like, the highs here, and then it has, like, a nice little peak and valley thing going on. So I think it's very pleasant as a listener to hear.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
And my mom listens to it as well. She's like, finally a band without the screamy, shouty man in.
Yeah.
So that's good at family ties, going, "Oh, Chris is in a band," and I'm like, "You can put it on if you want." Whereas in years gone by, it was like, you won't like it.
It's when, like, like your middle-aged uncle that you don't see that often.
Yeah,
and
Matt
finds out you're in a band, and it's like, "Oh, what type of music is it?"
Is it rock?
It's dad rock. Imagine dad rock, but aged 30 years.
Speaking of your sound, can you describe it for me in 3 words? I know that's a difficult question, but I love hearing how bands describe themselves.
Our sound?
Yeah.
We just tipped you off. We don't know how to do that.
I'll go first.
You do the whole thing.
3 words.
3 words.
Yeah.
That describes our music.
Yeah. Our sound.
Our sound. Emotional,
Emo.
Melodic.
I kind of want to say it's sounds
fluent.
Oh, yeah, we'll have that. Fluent, emotional, melodic music.
Yeah.
For lack of a better word, I want to say it sounds massive, but not like
I know.
not too narrow and horn. Of like, I feel like there's quite a wide soundscape. We're very into like electronic elements, like ambience, things like that. Like we try and marry all the aspects of the music and the visuals of going right. If this bit's really sad, make the video sad. Make the
everything's.
It needs to sound like there's a cold wind blowing outside, of like, oh, like. But they're all like little nuances that aren't necessarily at the forefront. But I think they build the bigger picture of like this is the emotion we're trying to convey, and we're using everything that we can throw at it to go right. Matt's vocals and the delivery and the music and all those sort of things. Like, so I want to say massive emo melodic music.
I'll take that.
Massive.
I love this question because like how you guys describe yourselves might not necessarily be how I describe you. So I love hearing the answers of how people see themselves.
How you describe it in 3 words?
What would you say?
The tables have turned.
The tables have turned. Oh no. Okay.
I know this feeling.
Be careful.
Yeah, 5 minutes ago.
Progressive. Yeah. Okay. Dynamic. And need a good word. I guess emotional, but like I don't. Yeah, let's go with those 3. That sounds good.
Yeah.
Correct answers.
They are solid.
Thank you. It's hard.
You.
I know, yeah. That's why I made that do it.
Yeah. I know you guys are in the process of writing and recording an album. I'm quite curious as to what the difference is for you guys, like with the studio recording process. Like, how do you go about preparing to go to the studio?
Okay, I'll answer as much of this as I can so that Matt doesn't slip up.
Okay.
So yes, we are in the process of writing our debut full length. I've never been in a band, I don't know about you, that's wrote a full album.
No, I've never even been in a band that's attempted to.
Okay.
So this is our first. I don't feel like everyone in the band has. No one in the band has wrote a full length album.
Yeah.
We've all been in bands that have wrote an EP or a couple of EP singles. So this is the first time where we've had to think of the whole package of going. If someone buys this album, if people even do that anymore, of going, if they put it in the CD player and listen from start to finish, we need to take them on a journey.
Yeah.
And I'd equate it to when you go to see a live band, they might put that slow song in the middle, but you need to pick your moments for stuff. We don't want to give people 11 tracks of the same stuff they've already heard, but we do want to stay true to the sound that we've crafted on the EP. So there's a bit of what you know, there's a bit of what you don't know.
Hopefully you will be pleasantly surprised with some of the tracks on the album.
Okay.
But yeah, and we're gonna start recording it in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
So we'll be going into the studio in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I can't say anything about release dates, especially seeing as everything's still up in the air.
Yeah.
That's the main burden of COVID. Could cancel the recording at any moment. So, but yeah, we think fans of our music so far will find more of what they love and maybe find new stuff that they didn't know that they wanted, but I think they will really enjoy.
I love what you said about how the album's about taking the listener on a journey. I think that's one of the things that is so important for an album. Like, all of my favorite albums tell some sort of story from start to finish, and there's always a special experience of listening to albums in full, so I was very excited to learn that you guys were going to be recording an album.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Very, very, very hard work.
it's
I think in so long form, rather than just going, that's a banger, that's a banger, that one will do. Like it's everything needs to be. We know that we'll never get a second chance to release our debut album,
but we've got to remember to make it fun for ourselves as well, as it's our first experience doing it.
We're throwing ourselves into the process.
Yeah. So, we just want to make it as much of an enjoyable experience for ourselves recording it, so that we come away with 11 pop songs that should / will be at the best of our ability.
Do you think the process has changed for writing from the EP to the album?
Yes.
Massively.
So first off, we had a drummer originally, when we were sort of like hashing things out, and then he couldn't commit to us being like, we actually want to do this properly, like full time. But he made that decision a week and a half before we went to the studio.
Yeah.
So we had to get in our current drummer, James. So him, speaking on his behalf, we haven't shown off his ability and his side of his input of the band. He played the best he could on a week's notice. I've been like, hey, do you want to be in our band? Whereas this time he's had 6-7 months with 80% of the songs to refine things. So immediately, I'm a strong believer in a band's only as good as its drummer. And I think he's definitely going to help elevate it.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think, obviously, again, speaking on behalf of Matt, when Matt joined, Matt had never sung over the top of music like we write. So I think he was finding his feet of going, how do I approach the music that's loud? And I think in some aspects you sang more aggressively to fight the music. Yeah. Whereas I think now we work a lot around Matt rather than tacking him on the top. Like it's like Matt's the driving force now of going, I think it should go this way. And
because I felt with the EP, it was my first experience of writing the lyrics and singing over such not heavy music, but it's the heaviest type of music I've ever tried singing over. Before, I was more used to like pop punk bands and acoustic music and stuff like that. So on the EP, I felt like I was fighting a war against myself that I ultimately knew that I wasn't going to win. So I was just thinking like, because the music, so let's say you have like the little melodic parts and like that's normally the type of stuff I sing over, and then when it went into like the big heavy breakdowns and stuff like that, going back to making sure that we got the right melodies and stuff for the breakdowns. Sometimes I'd make those melodies in my head, so then when it come to drafting them out, I'd struggle a lot with the pitch, or I'd end up more shouting rather than singing, if you get where I'm coming from. And I feel now, since going through that, and obviously we spent a lot of time last year touring, which helped me a lot.
I think you work out what's doable as well.
Yeah,
it's very easy to go. You've got 100 goes at hitting that note, and then we go on a 2-week tour, and I go, you've got one try every night to hit that note. Yeah. So, not that we've downgraded anything, where it's like, oh, don't exert yourself too much. I think we've learned the push and pull now of going, right, let back off a bit to let Matt go, and Matt backs off, goes, he doesn't need to be fighting the music all the time.
Yeah.
I think it was just loud and high, wasn't it, the EP? I'd say your vocal experience of like, sing it louder, sing it higher, it'll cut through. But yeah, there's a lot of really good moments on the songs we wrote where Matt's using more of the lower end of your register, where I think they're really strong. Like, if anyone's ever heard any of Matt's acoustic stuff, you'll know that when he's down there, he can go super low, super high, and like flits all over the place. Whereas before, when it was like, play now, and you're going, yeah. More, and it'll be easier to sing along to in the car as well. There's nothing worse than when you really love a song and then someone like Kelly or a Tyler just goes up there and you go, oh, I want to sing that bit, but I'll leave that.
It's nice to see like you guys are kind of like sitting into like who you want to be as artists, like kind of figuring out more so like who you want to be and developing your own sound and style even more so from the EP. So I'm very excited to see what you guys do.
I think we know what's in everybody's like wheelhouse as well, of being like, when we first got together, I was like, oh, Matt, can you sing something like this? And he's like, no. But I could sing something like this. And I feel like the process is a lot faster now because I don't ask stupid questions. I'm going, oh, do you go right up there? And you're like, no.
Expects me to hit some Kelly Clarkson or something like that.
Do you think coronavirus quarantine has affected what's happening for the album?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, 100%.
So if COVID-19 hadn't happened, the album would already be recorded.
Yeah. I mean, done a while ago, wouldn't it?
It would have been done in July. Yeah, early July. So every day that it's happening, we're working on music. So it's scientifically impossible for the album to not be better because everything's getting a second look and longer with lyrics. And I think there's a lot to be said for doing a load of work on something and then leaving it and going away and not thinking about it and then listening to it again and going, actually that bit, like sometimes you get embroiled in the fight. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You write a lyric that you really want, or we write a melody and we go, that's got to be the one, and you get so involved in going, I want to win the battle because I think that's good and I want everything to be good, that sometimes when you walk away from it and come back a week later or a couple of days later, you go, do you know what, I don't know why I wanted that so much. And then inspiration strikes when it wants. Do you know what I mean? You could be in the shower and be like, oh, the melody. Do you know what I mean? Get dry as quick as you can, run downstairs, get on the mic. Like, you can't. I think some people, like professionals who've been doing it for years, I think they can turn it on and off. But I think we're still in the stage where sometimes you need to do a bit of living to, especially when we do a lot from personal experience. If we're locked in the house because of COVID, there's only so many emotions to go through and things that
like for me, vocally, it comes in spurts. I mean, I can't just be like, right, I'm gonna go downstairs, turn on my Mac, and I'm gonna write an absolute banger today, and that is what is going to happen. And I'll get down there, and my pen will not touch the paper for like 4 hours, and I'll just be sat there, absolutely screwing in my own head. You know what I mean? But then other times, I'll like, you can like dream melodies and stuff like that, and I'll wake up and I'll get it straight down, or I'll like, you get them mad spirits, and you can get them from sort of like random places, like even like watching films and just looking out your window and seeing something happening. You know what I mean? Like
any other type of art is influential.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you'll watch a movie and they'll visibly be like portraying what you've been trying so hard to say lyrically.
Yeah.
And then it just makes sense, and you go, right, you know. Matt might want to be saying, I'm really, really sad, do you know what I mean, in the lyrics, but then he might watch something and there's some raindrops down the window, and he's like, tears on the window, like, do you know what I mean? Like, it can strike from anywhere. And
I am absolutely besotted beside myself, rather than I am so sad.
I am emo and melodic. So I generally 100% believe that as much as it's annoying for us and for fans to wait longer,
it's been a blessing.
It's gonna just the longer they wait, the better it's gonna be.
Yeah.
But we do understand that there has to come a time where enough's enough, and you say, that's it now, record it, release it. Because I feel like as well with music, it's like it's a place in time in it where you go, I want to look back in 5 years and go, I know exactly what was going on, how I was feeling, what we were doing.
Yeah.
That album sounds like that time. Because otherwise, I think other musicians would probably agree. Nothing's ever done. It just needs to be released.
You can always keep going on tracks. Just keep going and going and going.
And sometimes it's not the best thing. Sometimes it's you end up overthinking it. Sometimes the first thing, the first melody, you go, oh, that's great, and then
is the best sometimes.
That's why we try not to like tick boxes of going, oh, it needs a really good sing along bit. Like we let those bits come to us, and we go, oh, live that would make sense because they'll all do the clap, but we don't write going like, oh, it'd be great if everyone clapped, wouldn't it? say something about your hands up.
You need to write a line, but imagine that there's loads of clapping under it, so it's wrong.
So yeah, a very long answer to a very short question.
Yeah, sorry.
No, that was really enjoyable. I liked hearing all the different sides to what goes into it, because a lot of people don't normally touch upon those things. So it was really nice to hear all the different factors that kind of go into this.
You can have that tears on the window pane line for free.
Yeah.
I'll release that.
Out of the songs you've released, let's do that. What is your favorite part of the song that you've written?
Mine's when is it Falling Apart?
Is it?
There's a really when Matt's there's a certain part in Falling Apart where it all cuts out the bridge, and I
was going to say that,
and I don't know if it's just me. Me and Matt, I don't know. I always feel like a connection to your stage when that bit comes on. We always seem to reach out and touch each other at that part. I feel like because the lyrics are so heartfelt and the music as well with it, like I haven't said it before when that bit's come on.
It's a great
time to turn around and like towel your face to like this guy's in sweat. I just feel like what Matt's doing in the delivery and the words and the music, like it's so vulnerable that I feel like that's why I always reach out for you, like come near you when that bit's on, because I feel like he's exposing a part of himself that I've got a lot of respect for. Like it's not easy to go to places like that, so I always feel like I should be on hand to just tap him on the back or something. Like he's probably fine, he's probably loving it, he's probably like I understand clapping, but I get all teary.
No, I'd say the exact same part.
My will is broken all now.
Yeah. Because that is it's probably the most personal song for me that we've done, and that section was normally we'll always go through the lyrics together, and we'll always point out bits that maybe I've not noticed that could be better, that's been spotted by the rest of the band. But that section,
that was his first time on it.
Yeah, I wrote that first time because I knew what I wanted to say. Do you know what I mean? I knew what I needed to get out. So we wrote that, and it just came out first time, and the melody came first time, and we just locked it in straight away. And I think that's why it's my favourite, because it was so easy to lock it in, and because we were so
nobody wanted to touch it, did they?
Yeah, we were so happy with it so quickly.
Felt really like
it just
pure,
felt
didn't it? Like just like that's exactly.
It felt really good.
I think that's exactly what he needed to say on the song, and then it just happened, and you were just like, yeah, that's it. Like, don't do. The entire song could get burnt to the ground, but like that bit, like, it needs to be protected. Get some glass box around it.
Yeah.
So yeah, both of us, the bridge and Falling Apart, where me and Matt fall apart together on stage.
I always love when a song describes what I'm feeling better than I ever could, like put into words.
Yeah.
So that was definitely one of those songs for me, my person.
Yeah. Awesome.
What is the weirdest question you've ever been asked in an interview before? And then I want to ask you to answer it.
In a what?
Weirdest interview question.
No.
I think it's what kitchen implement am I going to be? I don't know.
I don't know. Like I can't remember any, to be fair. My brain's.
You get that stressed out about it, don't you?
My brain's like one big mushy pig. So yeah.
I feel like I got asked. I feel like I got asked like what kind of sandwich I think in Germany.
No, I think I've it.
And I was really hungry as well.
Mm.
So like, what kind of sandwich would you be? And I was like, whatever sandwich you got, mate, 'cause I'm starving.
And you say like, what sauce would you put on a hot dog?
Oh, I didn't have to.
So I was like, that's probably the most randomest question anyone's ever asked me in my life.
Food ones I always find, because I always think, who wants to know what sandwich I want to eat? And unless it's revealing something about myself that I don't realise. So yeah, that one. But you're close second with the what kitchen utensil.
Yeah, that is, yeah. Right off the bat.
That had a reason with it though, didn't it? The other one was just like, well, he just likes eating cheese sandwiches. And now you know.
I hate cheese.
We love cheese sandwiches.
So we do have a question that follows that one. So the kitchen utensil one wasn't the weirdest one. So, sorry. What is your opinion of releasing an artist's unreleased music after they've passed away? Should it be released or should it not?
I think if the music is completed in full,
yeah, it depends on who's releasing.
I think if an artist has wrote a song and then unfortunately has passed away, and they were happy with the song, signed off, everything was going to be released, tragedy strikes, I think it's all right to be released, not straight away. I think it needs time.
Yeah.
But I don't like where they take snippets, where they go, oh, they did a little vocal lick, and then they build an entire song. And they get someone else on to sing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like that. I think an artist has the right to the entire vision, as opposed to like a publishing company or a record label.
I think I don't know, like let's say a song, Chester Bennington brought an acoustic song out. I think if like every all the proceeds that were made from that song like went to a charity or to his family or something like that, I think in that sense it's fine. Or if his fans given permission for it to release,
I know
sort
what
of
you're
like that.
saying. You're taking out the lucrative element, going, well, can make money off. For instance.
Yeah.
But if it's just we're releasing it for everybody's enjoyment,
Yeah.
I think it should always be stated how much of it was done after the fact. Do you know what I mean? Someone writes a vocal line over a piano, and they go, all right, well, he's not here to argue, so
Well,
it's going over somewhere else now.
he sung one line of the song. We just finished the rest.
So yeah, I think it depends.
Yeah, it differs.
Same with like demos and stuff.
Yeah. What do you think?
So I think this should be either negotiated into a contract or, unfortunately, this is so depressing, but artist wills should be in place. Just so like it's up to who, like the person making the music. It's like your consent, your say of whatever happens. Since I know like sometimes voice memos are released or like unfinished tracks and they still sound unfinished. So I think it should be up to the artist.
Yeah, I'd never want an unfinished track getting out. It would be the end of us. No,
I feel like it slightly discredits the music as well. Like, obviously,
yeah,
bit of a controversial one, but like obviously when Michael Jackson died, and then they released an entire new album. And I feel like it kind of, you can't take that out of your mind as going. I feel like you criticize the music in a way that you wouldn't if the artist was alive, where you're just like, well, what parts of this, do you know what I mean, how finished was this, and like, would they have actually signed off on this? And I think there's I feel like music should be listened to for like,
I can imagine there'd be a lot of like loopholes
for the enjoyment of it, rather than of like, I don't know. It's a bit like watching a film. If you watch a film and you know the actor's passed away, and you've watched it when they're alive, and then when they passed away, like, I feel like it's very hard to disassociate being like, oh god, they're not around anymore. Like, so I feel like a bit the same with the music of like, it's a bit like haunting, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? You don't listen to Nirvana music and not think about the fact that it's not around anymore.
Agreed.
So
yeah,
that's true.
We're on the fence. Get it in the contract when they're alive.
I just think it should be up to the artist. Since like at the end of the day, would the artist have been happy or even like wanted it released? I don't know. I know it's touchy, like a lot, but
yeah. Bigger difficulty, I think, if it's not a solo artist, it's a band. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Of like not just one person's blood, sweat, tears into it. will write a little contract now. I can release any of Matt's demos before downstairs.
No chance. Watch.
I'll get it signed.
No one's getting all my demos, mate.
So on that note, if you could change one thing about the music industry as it is today, what would it be and why?
I'd say very topical, but I think the music and arts industry is dying at the moment through lack of help throughout COVID. And I think people are taking for granted the fact that they pay for a ticket to go to a show and they watch the show one night and then maybe don't think about the fact that the artist has to put in. It isn't like we're not just working on our band when we're touring and on stage. It's like we're committing a large part of our life to it. And there's a lot of big sacrifices that we make every day, of like jobs, like a career. Like we're choosing a career in the arts, and I feel really sad at the moment that there's a lot of unsung heroes in the industry of like the lighting guys and the touring guys, and there's a lot that goes on that isn't just like what you're seeing on stage. And I think it's really bad that everybody's so quick to consume it. You know what I mean? They want to be able to listen to it for free on Spotify. Yeah. But then when the industry is on its knees and it needs support, I think it's a disservice of all the people. Do you know what I mean? There's nobody who doesn't listen to music. Like, so why not support it? I know there's a lot of other things going on at the same time, but I think there's a lot of support that you get from music and the arts throughout your life. Of like, you know, everyone's been in a bad place and there's been a song, or you know what I mean, or a bad breakup, and like
also like the revenue that the music industry makes is like billions and billions and billions and billions. And now that industry is absolutely on its knees and it needs help from wherever it'll come from. And those people that are reaping all that benefit in the first place are now nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, and a lot of them aren't musicians, are they?
Oh yeah, of course. Like a lot of them, yeah, you know, businessmen and you know what I mean. I'm not going to name names, but owners of certain platforms, in my opinion, just absolutely rob the people that are making him his fortune. You know what I mean? I'm not going to say any more than that.
But yeah, I think we just, if I could change one thing, it would just be that people were incentivized more to be creative because everybody benefits from it. Yeah. Everybody benefits from Matt not having to stock the shelves at Tesco and singing heartfelt music. Nobody's asking for it on a plate. Like, we're happy to make the sacrifice because we feel it's worth it to get our message out there. But it'd be nicer if it was a little bit easier on the legality side of like making it hard for artists to get visas. To, you know, if we wanted to come play in America, we'll have to go through a lengthy visa process and things like that. but we're coming to bring happiness. Do you know what I mean? Of going, we're to the gig, and you know, it's good. It's good for the economy of like, and it's good for people to connect through music in a way that staying at home and just being like, well, I'll order something on Amazon, like, it doesn't bring you that same thing. So yeah, help us out.
I feel like throughout this whole quarantine period, I've definitely bought more vinyl and merch than I ever had from artists. Just
I can see. Is that the new Neck Deep vinyl?
Yeah, I just got it in.
Nice. Yeah, very good album.
Yes. I think you're the first person to actually guess what it was. No one knew what it was.
I thought it straight out. What physical albums have you got? Well, she's got it.
I'm sorry, you cut out.
No, we were just saying, like, when you asked what physical album we own, I was like, well, she's got the new vinyl, so I won't ask her.
Do you want? My favorite physical copy that I have is Holding Absence's AA of Gravity and Birdcage. It was the first purchase I made for myself of an album.
Oh wow! Is it the picture disc one?
Yeah, I have it.
I absolutely love that band.
Yes, very good band. They're
So good.
they're one of the small pool of going. What would somebody sing nicely over that heavy music?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, they're a big inspiration. Really nice guys as well.
Yeah, I feel like quarantine is kind of like a lot of my friends. One of the things we've been doing to stay in touch, because we're all over America and some other countries, is just send playlists to each other, songs that we've been listening to throughout this time, and kind of keeping how we stay in touch, which is really nice to see.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Everyone's getting creative, aren't they? Live streaming gigs and
Yeah. Everyone's getting on.
you have to become a master of like getting everyone on Zoom for a rehearsal. Things that we didn't think we would need to be able to do.
I feel like social media has played a huge role in like kind of how concerts have been going on, since I know so many people are doing like these Instagram live concerts, and
Yeah.
I think some are through Songkick now too. I'm not 100% on that, but I know they've been doing a lot more of those. Interesting.
Makes sense. We haven't played a gig since
Oh.
October. Probably
No, November. No, end of October.
yeah,
Yeah.
probably the longest period I've gone without.
Yeah, this is the
Right.
longest period in years that I've not played a gig or been to a show. Horrible.
Okay,
We
so
want it back.
what was the last show you've been to?
Our show in October.
No, mine was
You cheating on me?
straight from the path.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Manchester.
I remember you went to-
Manchester 02, Straight from the Path was like January or February.
I can't remember the last gig I went to. I feel like it was ours. It was
Right. You promised?
no, it got cancelled.
Oh, did it? Oh, okay.
Just a lowly captain's gig for me. That's all. I was forced to go.
Yeah, I can't believe how long it's been since people have gone to concerts, and we'll see
It's
what
gonna be weird.
happens.
But like,
First one
Yeah,
back
no,
is gonna be big. Whatever it is, it's gonna be big.
yeah, but it's gonna be weird as well, isn't it? Because everyone's gonna be on edge, aren't they?
I don't really.
At least you won't get that sweaty topless guy. You know, the 4 pints. Excuse me, mate. I've been on to that. 2 meters, please.
Stay away.
So I only have one more question for you guys. What are your goals for 2020? It can be the year or the decade, because the year's kind of been canceled.
Write the best debut album ever. That's mine.
Yeah, same.
Well,
That's literally this.
record it.
All that's. We eat, sleep, and breathe Cactus at the minute, so
If I have to get on one more Zoom call with this guy, it's not going to end well.
I'm so rubbish with technology as well. So if I'm on my own,
That's why I'm here.
I'm on the phone train. I tell me how to sort the Zoom call out.
You're in America and it's working. I have to be here with him. He's an hour away from me.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm sorry.
No, it's not your fault, it's his fault.
Yeah, it's my fault.
You wouldn't have got all those great answers, the emo, melodic, massive.
Fluent.
So it was worth it for
Yeah. Yeah, it's been fun.
Well, I really appreciate you guys talking to me.
We appreciate you having us.
Thank you, and
Have a lovely weekend,
enjoy the rest of your day. So, bye.
And
Bye.
bye bye.